Hello, and welcome to another edition of Lifestyles of the Little and Luxurious. But more like, hi. My apartment is super tiny, so like, what can I do to make it look bigger and store lots of stuff? Welcome to my swanky patio. On today's episode, we're going to use my years and years of extensive education watching HGTV shows, along with the skills I picked up from my engineer father with design, carpentry, and various other things. I'm going to show you how to maximize the space and design of your tiny apartment. If you're at all like me, when you watch Rock the Block, you find out the challenge.
Then you proceed to fast forward through the entire episode until you get to the reveal.
So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to get straight to the reveal and then show you exactly how and why I got to where I got with my little luxurious apartment. Many of us in New York live in some pretty tiny apartments. And with tiny apartments comes creativity and space-saving solutions that will make your place work for you. The living area of my apartment is about 200 square feet. I took my apartment sight unseen because I was having a really hard time finding an apartment. This came up. I didn't want to risk it, so I just took it. The only thing I knew about it was that a couple was living in this tiny studio, and I figured if a couple was making it work, I could make it work. Now, some of you might be thinking, why on earth would you spend all the time and money putting the effort into this apartment when you're just renting it?
A lot of my friends said their biggest regret was thinking that they'd only be in their apartment a year or two.
And then here it is 5 or 10 years later, and they're still living in the same apartment, wishing they would have done some updates or things to make their place their own. I also had to find this apartment because of a breakup, and I wanted to come home to something that made me proud and happy and ready to move on with my life. Luckily for me, my apartment came with a double closet, which many West Village apartments do not even have a closet at all, so I'm very fortunate. But the kitchen only had 2 upper cabinets and 2 lower cabinets. And I had to come up with some solutions where I could store dishes, cleaning supplies, extra clothing, you name it. I've got it all packed here in this apartment somewhere. So what was my design inspiration for this entire apartment? It was either of these 2 things, which I got at Housing Works, which is like a thrift store in New York. I don't know what this thing is, but it houses my remotes now. Or it was those decals back there on those wall features that I built myself, because I'm kind of a handy homo.
The Handy Homo, coming this fall on HGTV.
The only 2 things I had to my name when I moved into this apartment were these 2 blue benches. The owners before me opted to put a couch here at the end of the bed, but these blue benches, they have storage in them, so I have, clothes and things in them. Plus they're blue, so we've got the blues, we've got the purples, we got some greens in there, and I've incorporated all that into the room. So let's head back to the kitchen where I can offer you a couple suggestions and cheap things you can do to keep your kitchen looking less crappy than it was. So simple things like handle pulls. These might cost you anywhere from a couple bucks to, if you get really fancy, they might cost, I don't know, maybe $10, maybe a little bit more. These I think were $5. If you remember, the backsplash and the countertop were this cheap gray looking Formica. So what I opted to do was find a butcher block, which was I think maybe 150 bucks. And then I just, cut out for the sink. I replaced the cheap sink faucet with a nice black one that matches the black accents better. I think that was maybe 40 or 50 bucks on Amazon. And then the backsplash is actually the leftover decals from those wall features that I made. These are actually meant for the fronts of the risers of stairs, so when you're walking upstairs, they're right in front of you. And I wasn't using any red in the rest of the room, so I decided to use these. So it's got a little bit of blue, and then that will connect it with the green, and then the green wraps around towards the other side where I have green accents in the other room as well. As a person who likes to cook, the 12 inches of counter space in my kitchen is not quite enough. So I opted for a table like this, which I can prep meals on and things, and then if I actually wanted to have someone over for dinner, I could also probably seat up to 4 if I really wanted to. As for the bathroom, usually there's not a lot you can do other than rug and towel combinations with some pictures maybe. I decided to put a new light fixture in, some shelves on the sides of the vanity, a new faucet, and a towel shelf over the door. Another thing you're probably going to want to get is bed risers. They can lift your bed significantly just with these little feet. I have a coffin full of tools under there, luggage, everything else you can imagine. This chair sat on the floor. I didn't like it. It didn't look substantial enough. So I augmented the chair with the risers just the same to make it look like a more substantial piece of furniture. This is an area of my small apartment that I would consider a flex space. I've decided to use an oversized chair because I like to read, and this actually does pull out into a bed if I should for some reason have a guest stay the night. But maybe you work from home and so you want to put a desk here and create your home office here. Or, like I said earlier, I have a double closet, but if I didn't, I might want to have a big wardrobe right here where I can store some of my clothes. So what else can you do to improve the function, design, and give the illusion of more floor space in your apartment? Something like this cabinet, I've gotten up off the floor and mounted to the wall because the more floor space you see underneath you, the larger your apartment will look. I've also gotten these cheap puck lights all over the apartment, which I'll show you later what they can do. But they just come with adhesive and magnets, and they pop under places like this. So what I've done is gotten bamboo serving trays and placed them all over the place, underneath my coffee pot. I've also mounted some shelves on the wall so I could free up some cabinet space, and I've put my coffee mugs and my wine glasses there. If you notice, this cabinet is actually longer than the wall right here, because I've created this little nook around the side where I can hang my coats because there's nothing by the front door. Mirrors are another great way that you can bounce some light around, give the illusion of more space. I'm very fortunate that I have 3 very large windows in my apartment, but if I didn't, I might want to take a mirror like this and put it on the other side of the wall so it gives the illusion of having another window, and at the same time, it's bouncing more natural light around the room. You want to do your draperies. If you have low ceilings, you want to extend the rods slightly above the window line to make it look like the windows are bigger than they actually appear. I've got the tracking for the windows in line with the mirror, and then it goes around and is in line with the top of those other mirrors from the wall feature to create some symmetry. The wall features, they're long and narrow, so again, they're heightening the room. I've got stripes on the wall horizontally, which are pushing the walls out further. And believe it or not, even with the ceiling painted a color, when you're in here, you don't see it. It almost feels like it disappears. It's like the sky is above you almost. For lighting, I've opted for these pendants, which are on the smaller to medium size. You want to keep your lighting on the smaller side so it's not obtrusive to the room. So I have my bedside light and my lamp that are pretty small. And finally, before we close out the show, let's talk budget. So as you can see, I've tried to put a lot of the pricing on various things in my apartment, and with some thrifting, some creativity, help from friends, you probably can accomplish a lot of this and not spend a lot of money. Luckily for me, I have my friend Mr. American Express who helped me out. So what did I splurge on with my budget? Well, in my relationship, I was not allowed to have Alexa. So guess what? I have Alexa now. Hey Alexa, say hi.
Hi there.
Alexa, turn on Chili Willy.
Okay.
Alexa, make TV volume 30.
Okay.
Alexa, pause. Alexa, turn off the TV.
Okay.
Alexa, make left testicle blue.
Okay.
Alexa, make right testicle blue.
Okay.
And now to close out the show, I'm going to show you what those puck lights and LED lights can do for your apartment. Alexa, turn off D's nuts.
Okay.